You know what a rubber band is, right? People used to put them on their arms and they would snap them every time they wanted to not do something. Or they would snap it so they could stop a thought. Ow, that hurt. Oh, that hurt. The problem is, it doesn't actually work that way. A snap on the wrist is not enough to get our brain to stop thinking. Ow! All right, maybe I need to stop doing that. Go wash your hands. Was that bump on the road a person? Do I really love my partner? What if I'm not really attracted to them? After the painful experience, it's natural for us to check to see if it worked. But it's actually bringing more attention to these thoughts because we're trying to do something to get rid of the thought. Instead, it's teaching our brain this thought has way more value. We don't want to use this trick. It doesn't work. Instead, I say we think about this rubber band in a completely different way. Think about your compulsions. These things that your anxiety tells you you must do or complete, or else you'll feel even more anxious and maybe you won't stop thinking about these thoughts. These compulsions could be washing your hands, asking for reassurance, checking on forums, going to the doctor often, rumination, just problem solving, and even praying. These compulsions become such a pattern that can be hard to break. It seems as if the more you attempt to not do the compulsion, the more you're driven towards it. That tension starts to grow. Your brain will not let go of the thought. Think of this rubber band. Instead, think of it as huge. It's wrapped around your entire body. It's attached to you, and it's attached to the compulsion that you feel like you need to do. You may be super motivated to not give in to this compulsion. Your brain says, but if the door isn't locked, something bad could happen. So you are attached to this. Here's the door. Here are you. You say, I am walking away. I am not going to do this. But guess what happens? We stretch this rubber band. It gets tighter. The tension increases. It's like this opposing force is pushing you back to the door to perform that compulsion. Boom, it's back. It was so painful. It was so uncomfortable. The thoughts wouldn't stop. That tension only lasts so long, and then it pushes you right back. This can be for any compulsion. It's a constant reminder tricking you into thinking that this is important to go back. You have a hard time moving forward because the brain says you cannot do so until you perform this compulsion. But it doesn't take that long, just do it. It releases that tension, that doubt, that feeling to go check. But guess what happens? Once you give in to the compulsion, you've loosened that rubber band. It doesn't feel as heavy. So it's like that was the right thing to do. At least that's what the brain says. But you know what? You must walk away from that door again, thus causing more strain on the rubber band and doubt. It almost feels impossible for you to move forward. But you have all the power in the world. Do you know what happens if we keep pulling at this rubber band? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Hit me in the face? Possibly. Oh my goodness, it's a long rubber band. It's not breaking. What do you think happens if we take this rubber band and we keep pulling and we keep pulling? I'm not doing the compulsion. I'm not doing the compulsion. Oh, it snaps. It snapped. That's when it finally breaks. There's freedom in that. It takes a lot of hard work, but it happens. That tension is so absolutely strong. It feels so powerful. I cannot not walk away from this compulsion. But guess what? You keep walking away. You keep feeling that tension. You feel that uncomfortable feeling. You respond differently to it. It's going to break. One of the most important parts is commitment. If you even have a small strand or a thought of going back to do this compulsion, you will likely give into it. You must fully commit to not checking that door again, not trying to solve a perceived threat, not asking for reassurance. Commitment means you are walking so far away from this compulsion, the rubber band snaps. You're okay feeling this tension, this uncomfortableness, the doubts, the questioning, because it can't last forever. As long as you have that attitude of, I really don't care, I'm risking that the door is unlocked if that's the compulsion. I'm risking that whatever it is. I am living life. I'm letting this rubber band break. I'm going to continue moving on through my day, even if I'm feeling anxiety. This commitment and confidence is shown by how you're going to respond. If you're choosing to not check that door to see if it's locked, then you continue finishing that movie you're watching. You continue hanging out with your friends. It's going to bug you, but you're responding to it with confidence. I am for sure not checking the door tonight. I am accepting this uncertainty. Maybe I left it unlocked, maybe not. Someone could break in, I don't know. I am 100% willing to risk something bad happening tonight because I've already checked it once. There's no backup plan. If I'm feeling anxiety in 1 hour, I'll go check. No, I will sit with this feeling for as long as it takes, minutes, hours, whatever it is. Think about this with your specific compulsions. Because the brain is like, yeah, Nate, you're talking about the door, but that's not so hard to do. Mine is hard. I have to go wash my hands, or I have to go ask this reassurance. I don't know if I'm a good person. I don't know if I'm attracted to this other person. But that's the thing about OCD, is it's gonna make you think that yours is different and this doesn't apply. Don't fall for it. The cool part is, when a commitment is made and you actually follow through with it, your brain is learning. It's hard. You've taught yourself that your brain doesn't always tell the truth because more times than not, the catastrophe the brain has placed upon you doesn't actually happen. Don't use that as reassurance, please. But we're always willing to risk the small percentage that something actually might happen. Get through the initial moment of resisting this compulsion, and then it gets easier. The more you make this commitment for all time, not just tonight, this opposing force will keep pushing you back to doing whatever the compulsion is. I think of this analogy. If I keep moving and commit, this rubber band will break. I will have to be willing to sit with this feeling for as long as it takes. The thing about OCD and anxiety is it's really great at reconstructing a new rubber band that says, hey man, I'm still here. It wants to hook you again, but don't fret. If it does, just repeat what you did before. Break that darn rubber band. It will eventually stop telling you that these compulsions are important.